So I decided to go to webuycars to actually check cars that are interesting to me, cars that I would buy, and whether it's buying soon or in the future. And guess what I found? I found a Tesla. So this was a very interesting find. I don't know what tires it's running on, but these are very big tires. I don't want to lie, this car doesn't have an aura. So I was very interested to actually see the inside of the car, but unfortunately they told me that because the car is already being bought by someone, so they can't do that, so it's not as necessary. So after they told me that, I just decided that, you know what, it's fine, at least I got to see a Tesla in person, so I'll go ahead and go on and review other cars. But this car, to be honest, it looks so basic, to be honest. But talking about cars that look interesting, here we have an Alfa Romeo, the Quadristophilio. Yeah, for those petrol heads, they know this is a special car. This car is powerful. If I remember well, this car can produce up to 450 in terms of horsepower. If I remember well, it's running on a V6 engine. I may be wrong, I'm just pulling this data from top of my mind based on what I remember. Then there's the clover symbol there. Whenever you see an Alfa Romeo with that clover symbol, just know that it's a special car. There's also an SUV model of a Quadristophilio. This is a very special car. If you have money, this is something that you buy. So this one, in terms of the cars that it competes with the BMW M3 and M4. And I don't know if you can notice, so most of these cars, what happens is that the back tires are actually bigger than the front tires. Most of the previous Mercedes-Benz, they also do this, especially the C-Class. So because it pulls with the rear wheels, they usually give you bigger wheels. Look at the exhaust, like that's just one of my hand. Look, when you look inside, it's real true exhaust. Like, I've heard this car on the road, like the sound just sounds beautiful, man. It just sounds beautiful to hear on the ear. Like, if ever you win lotto, or if ever I win lotto, just know that you're gonna find me driving something like this. Just don't ask questions, just know that the money is in. So right there, the bottom, they give you a carbon fiber, a little bit of carbon fiber. Man, this car is beautiful. But unfortunately, I cannot afford this car. So this car is too expensive. I don't have 70,000 that I can pay monthly for a car. So that's someone else's salary. I think that's an entry salary in terms of someone who's a teacher. I am not sure. And I would advise anyone who wants to buy this type of car to actually buy a new one, because in terms of the cars from Italy, they are not known to have the best reliability. In terms of reliability, that part goes out of the window. Okay, so moving on, I actually saw something special, guys. Yeah, this car is very special. So this is the Audi RS3. Look how big that exhaust is. But I had to check to see if it's real, but you can see it's real. Like, this car is a very special car. So this type of cars, if you are buying it, I would advise you to actually inspect and do proper inspection. So as I was inspecting, I was making sure to actually inspect everything from the tires, and also because, you know, it's running on run flat tires, so most of them, they're gonna get damaged because of potholes. You know, we have crappy roads. But other than that, like, this car it just looks clean, man. It looks clean. But obviously, just looking at it without actually getting the full report of the car. But besides the report, without actually coming here with a mechanic to review the car, you don't really know much about the car. But I don't want to lie, like, this is a very beautiful car. It's a very beautiful car, and it makes me wonder why it doesn't have the number plates, because this is a second hand. So I made sure to check, but you can see someone has already reserved it. But just because the car is reserved does not mean that the car is already bought. So as I was moving around, I actually found the S3. So this is the car that I actually started to make friends. So there was a guy who was interested in buying this car. So straight from start, I started to see red flags. So I don't know if you can see on the lights. So the lights inside, they have dirt inside. It's almost like this was a flood car, like it was flooded or something. To me, that seemed like a red flag. That was a very big red flag. So I wasn't actually going around inspecting this guy because he was interested in this car. He said he's been looking at this car online and he's very interested. He said the car, at first it was at another dealership of webuycars. It is a status that someone is buying it, but that car was not bought and it was moved to this dealership. So in terms of the dealership that I was in, this is webuycars, the one in Centurion. So too many red flags, man. You can already see the passenger door doesn't work. So in order to get in, someone has to open for you from the inside. But in terms of the inside, the car looks clean. Mind you, I repeat, I went to view cars without actually looking at the decor report. I was just using my eyes, and I realized that the decor report actually, it gives you this weird thing that you think that the car is clean just because the decor report is clean. I realized that with my eyes alone, I can see so many red flags, like that splitter at the bottom of the door. You can see that it seems like it was coming off, and then the door on the side of that passenger is not working. I suspected that this car has an accident history. It was hit on the side of the passenger, then it went somewhere to get fixed, and it stayed so long to a point that water ended up getting in even on the lights. This car, if we're talking about red flags, this is a red flag. So the guy asked, okay, does this car have an accident history? As always, the dealerships will tell you no. For me, yeah, I know that dealerships and people who sell cars, they clean the engine bay of the car. To me, an engine bay of a car that seems too clean, to me, that's a very, very big red flag. It shows me that someone went above and beyond to try to hide something. Like, definitely someone is hiding something. Like, this engine bay, it looked too clean, especially for a used car, because it didn't make sense. So just looking around for the first time, I didn't see too much red flags. Then I started to look at those screws. Like, you can see the one on at the end, that screw, you can see that, I don't know if you can pause the video, that screw, you can see that it was removed. So this is something that we're gonna see as we go around this car. You can see minor dents on terms of the rim of the car. Yeah, like, guys, like, to be honest, the more I see these things in terms of the cars and the tires which are damaged, like, I'm starting to think that run flat tires are not meant for cars to be driven in terms of South Africa. So this one has some very nice kilometers. Like, it's actually old Mercedes-Benz, the ones which from 2018 going down. These are cars that most of them you can get lucky and you can get away with them in terms of higher kilometers. So this one, it looked clean, and it's that one that's actually in high demand in terms of the used market. Why? Because this is that one that actually uses the 2-liter engine, so it produces the horsepower that's almost equivalent to the horsepower of the GTI that came out at the same time as this car. So yeah, like I said, this is the A250. For those who know, the A250, it gets a 2-liter engine as opposed to the A200. I don't know how I feel about the wing. I feel like it's overkill. it's overkill. And you know, a wing of a car, it actually just increases the drag of the car, and it's just gonna increase the fuel consumption. So yeah, I don't know how I feel about the car. Then I found another Mercedes Benz. So this one, yeah, you can see a lot of damage in terms of this car. Like, there's a lot of damage. Whoever was driving it was busy bumping things in terms of this car. Even the number plate is just, it almost seems like it's gonna fall off from the car. So I had to check to say, okay, this car, I can see that it has a lot of damage, especially in the front, but does the price make sense? Because it has to make sense. You can't have an old car which has a lot of damage. The rims are damaged, they're scratched all over, but the car is overpriced. You can see that things are starting to fall off. So in terms of the price, it does make sense, but I wouldn't advise anyone to pay that amount for a car that has 30,000 kilometers. So I don't know if most people know about Mercedes-Benz. So that part that I was touching, that's actually plastic. So all Mercedes-Benz that you see with the sunroof, just know that that's a plastic piece. And for those who know in terms of the issues that Mercedes-Benz start to encounter, that plastic trim is gonna be a very big problem, especially as the car starts to get old. You just need to know that you're probably gonna need to visit Mercedes-Benz dealership, because that starts to actually allow water to get in. So I found a Beamer. This is a 4 Series. So 4 Series are very attractive, eh? So this one, I actually took time to inspect it. Like, yeah, I know it's an old car, but this one was very tempting, especially considering the kilometers that it has, and also the price and the condition. But in terms of the condition, you must know, if you go to webuycars, you're definitely gonna see a lot of red flags. But guys, like 4,000 per month for a 4 Series, like, I would say that if you have like maybe 60,000 in the bank to fix this car, you can actually fix a lot of issues. But yeah, just look at the rim. I don't know how much they fix rims for BMW, but you're gonna pay, I can suspect that you're gonna pay a very, very hefty amount. So you can see that the tires of this car, they are not good in terms of that rim. If I was to buy this car, I would actually change those rims and actually remove the run flat tires and put tires which are a bit beefed up. I don't know about the red interior. Like, I don't know, a red interior in a color of a car, as the car starts to get old, somehow that interior, it just ages very terribly. It makes the car to look very ugly. Maybe you can go to the aftermarket and actually change that interior. So you can see the back tires. So these tires, from what you can already see, people, they do this thing these days where they actually go around and they're spraying the rims black. I don't know why, guys. I don't know why. Why don't you just buy brand new rims? I guess buying a spray is actually cheaper than actually buying a brand new rims. So that's what's happening. Then we can see a bit of paint there on the bumper. If you buy this car, just expect that the paint is gonna start to come off. And also, if you see that the paint is coming off like that, that's also another suspect that the car is being repainted and the car has accidental history. So that's something that you should know. So in terms of Beamers, there's a lot of Beamers at webuycars. You just need to look around. But what I can tell you is that the ones that actually look fresh, most of them, they are taken. But in terms of cars, especially the old BMWs, yeah, some of them, they are good, but from what I've been reviewing and the problems that arise with these old cars, like, yeah, it seems like you're gonna see flames. You're gonna be friends with the mechanic. Yeah, still this one, similar kilometers from that one, and you're gonna be paying 4,000 something. I mean, you choose. Do you wanna pay that amount for a Swift, or do you want to pay that amount for a BMW? You can see the interior is beat up. You choose, but I, for one, I would say that rather just buy a new car. I think that most of these cars, the ones, especially the ones which are used, especially the luxury cars or the sports cars or the high performance cars, I would say that you don't buy it as your first car or your only car that you're gonna drive. I mean, you can see at the back that plastic trim, it just looks terrible, like it has already aged. You can just see that it's aftermarket, someone just went and just put it there. Yeah. Then moving on to other cars, this is the Honda Civic RS. If you know something about Hondas, is that these cars, they run for a very long period of time. So one thing that I noticed is that the exhaust in these cars, not in these cars, in this car, they are aftermarket exhaust. But goddamn, this car is in very good condition. Whoever who was using it was actually treating it well. I could hardly find red flags in terms of this one, except that aftermarket exhaust, because most of the people who actually modify cars are people who actually beat up their cars. So you never know what you're getting. Maybe it's a lemon, but most of the Honda cars, if you know the reputation about Honda, is that they last for a very long period of time. You can see this one has already reached 200,000 in terms of the kilometers, so it has been on the road, and the paintwork still looks good, man. It still looks good, and because it's a Honda, you know that if you take it, it's gonna last. The only thing that I would be worried about would be the transmission. Yeah, there are the red flags. I don't know what's happening with the glass. It has cracks everywhere. One day you'll be driving and the glass will just shatter. So then there was another 3 series. This one, since I've already explained about the other 3 series, this one I'll just show you without talking. Decided that, you know what, it's fine. I know that Ford, in terms of the South African market, doesn't make a lot of smaller cars. They are making cars like the Puma and SUVs. I was like, let me check this Ford ST. Yeah, you can see the reflex, the paint in terms of the bumper from the other side. It's a sign of respraying. And also in terms of the body panel in this bumper, you can see it doesn't align at all. You can already see there was an accident in the front of this car. This bumper was completely off, or it's another bumper from another ST or just a Ford Focus. I'm just not sure if they share the bumper in terms of the front, but I think they don't, because the ST is usually the more aggressive one. So you can already see. So I think what I've learned, just go into a buy cars without looking at the decor report. You actually try yourself to see what are the red flags in terms of the car, instead of waiting for them to actually show you in terms of the decor report to say, okay, the glass is cracked, the left tire is finished, the suspension. It actually encourages you to actually take your time to actually go around the car and try to pick up the issues by yourself. I think for anyone, my advice who wants to go buy a car at any dealership, I would say that go there, walk there, and actually go around the car. Take your time, go on a day that you're not in a rush, and just take your time and go around the car. Like, take your time the same way that you take your time whether you're cooking your food or you're doing something that you like the most. Just take your time, go around the car, inspect the paint. If you see something that looks off, probably sometimes you'll find that definitely there's something that you have picked up. And if you see that, okay, this is something that I can't deal with, so that's a sign that you need to walk away from that car and actually go somewhere else where you're gonna find a car that's still in good condition. This one, I don't know what's happening there, because I've never seen that in any other 3 series of this generation. If I remember well, this is the generation from 2022, 2021, I think also 2020. Yes, I think they call it the G23. Forgot. But that alone, in terms of the left light, that's a red flag. To me, it almost seems like that light was damaged and there was a bit of work that was done. What you need to know is that these LED are laser lights, so just know that if ever one of them dies, you're gonna pay an arm and a leg, because this is a BMW, and this is the car that's called bring all your money. You don't have a choice. So moving on to the Mercedes-Benz. For those who know this generation of the CLA or the CLA, for those who know, is that this is the year that Mercedes-Benz had a collaboration with Renault. For those who know, is that this car basically is a Renault but with a Mercedes-Benz skin on top. So if you go to the engine bay and you look at most of the parts, they're from Renault. And also most Mercedes-Benz from this generation, they're actually rear wheel drive, but because to show that this is a Renault, this car is a front wheel drive. So this car, most of the time, it's actually bought by ladies. Ladies don't care whether a car is front wheel drive, rear wheel drive. They don't care. They just buy. I think as guys, most of us, if we had to choose, we would actually choose a rear wheel drive. But rear wheel drive also doesn't need someone who drive recklessly, because you're gonna die. So there's a red flag. You can see that's where they towed the car. So this car has been towed before that thing is even lost. So that's a very bad sign. You can see a bit of impact at the front. So I suspect that this car has encountered a lot of problems. As much as it looks good almost everywhere, but just that sign of knowing that this car has been towed before makes me wonder to say, what are the issues which are underlying under the skin of this car. So another thing that I would encourage everyone, if you're going to view a car with a mechanic, go with a mechanic who have a scanning tool. So if you ever reach a dealership, whether we buy cars, whatever dealership, even if the car is new, if they're refusing you to scan the car, so the other thing that you can ask is that, okay, it's fine, if you don't want us to use our scanning tool, how about you use your guys' scanning tool? Just want to see whether this car is a problem or not. If they still refuse, just know that there's something that they are hiding, because I'll keep saying it again, dealerships are not your friends. So there's these 2 cars that I found. There's one for the younger drivers and one for the people in their early 40s who are trying to retire. So that's the BMW 2 Series and also the Mercedes-Benz C-Class. So you have to choose, what do you want? So both these cars, they are rear wheel drive, but because the Mercedes-Benz has the C180, in terms of horsepower that it produces, is far less than the BMW 2 Series. So these are great cars, to be honest, for me. So this is a two-door. I don't have kids currently, so I can still buy a two-door. I mean, who am I gonna be putting at the back seat? Because I mostly travel alone or with my woman, so it's just two of us. So in terms of the condition from the inside, yeah, you can see signs of wear and tear, especially with the leather. Once you see the shine, that's where usually where the person who was driving the car was touching and they're moving around. So that's something that's expected. You would be surprised if the leather was still looking as brand new. So both of these cars, they come with LED, so both of them you're not going to struggle to see at night. Obviously, if you're buying these two cars, any of these two cars, you need to make sure that all these lights are working as expected and there's no underlying issue. So in terms of this one, in terms of the monthly installment, that's 5,000, around 5,000, and it has about 100,000 kilometers. Guys, for those who have owned BMW while they're still new, what can you tell us? Like, why do you guys reach 100,000 and actually take back the car? Is it because it's out of the maintenance plan, or there's something that you guys are not telling us? So for those who have owned BMW, can you please tell us in terms of the comment section, in terms of the common issues that you actually find, unlike the other issues that we already know that BMW, also Mercedes-Benz included, that they use a lot of plastic in terms of the engine bay, and most of the time, because of the turbo, as the car starts to get old, most of those components, they start to melt and you start to have a lot of problems. So this one is slightly more expensive than the 2 Series there, which is understandable because this car is actually bigger than that one. But in terms of the red flag for me, the interior is messed up. Not really the dashboard, but look at the driver's seat. Like, who was using this car to a point that your bumps can actually tear leather? Like, I know you can fix that, but after looking at cars that are gonna come with problems, I got tired of looking at cars that are gonna come with problems. I decided that, you know what, let me go and actually review cars from the Chinese market. So this is the Cherry Tiggo Pro. So this car is basically new because it has in terms of kilometers, it is around 12,000 kilometers. Guys, this car is big, like it's big, and I just like that it has only 12,000 kilometers and the price actually decreased. That's the power of depreciation, and the interior actually still looks relatively new in terms of this car. So this is a very big SUV. The other thing that I like in terms of the interior is the speakers. It has Sony speakers in there. I just know that they probably play really nice because Sony is known to have good speakers in terms of cars. So this car is still new. Everything checks out. So you choose, guys. Do you want an old car that's gonna come with problems, or you want a new car that won't come with problems? So my takeaway message from this visit at webuycars is that go and check cars without the decor report. Don't start online. Just go and walk around and look at the car that you're interested in and inspect the heck out of that car. I'm telling you, you're gonna pick up things that are probably not even on the decor report. And if those things are not in the decor report and you still want that car, that's something that you can use as a bargaining chip to try to negotiate with the dealership and to try to have them reduce the price. And if they don't want to reduce the price, just leave and don't take the car. Guys, that is being it, and that is being me and my fits in terms of webuycars. And thank you for watching. And for those who like this type of content, please consider subscribing. And as I thank you for your support, and we're on the road to 1,000 subscribers. And as always, thank you. I'll see you sometime, same place.